Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from where you're watching, and welcome back to Indian Racing League. We have a very special event for you today, and that is a league versus league event where some of our drivers will be going head to head versus the drivers from Speed Force Racing or SFR. The track chosen is Belgium, and let's hope this is a good one. We have a few drivers who are yet to ready up, but I think everyone has joined on time. So let's hope for a good one. I will quickly do the thing which I usually forget, and that is to ensure that I put the link in the channel so people can have a look and watch along as the drivers compete for probably the last time on this game. We have the new game coming up next week, and that should be a lot of fun. Right, so the music has suddenly gone silent. I don't know why that is, but either ways, I think everything is fine. And let's hope for a good race. Standard league rules in terms of weather, in terms of damage, in terms of assists being on or off, and it seems like a dry qualifying at least. So all the best to everyone who's participating, and let's hope for a good competitive race on this wonderful track. Right, no drivers out yet. We will soon see drivers. Yeah, I think a couple of them have now exited the pits. And let's see who's out in the pits. Is Jensen, one of the first drivers, who's on the track right now. And then let me just quickly change the audio volume because I think it's too high right now. Yeah, much better. So okay, so the cars which are there for the likes of Shadow Sword, who's in the Renault. So the cars which Indian Racing League drivers are going to drive are the Mercedes, which is Quick Killer and Vicky, Renault, which is Nishan and Shadow Sword. Haas is driven by Shah and Azun. Racing Point is Sid Venkatesh and Utkarsh, and Red Bull will be driven by Hushrav F1 as well as Mayank. So good to see full grid, and let's hope for an exciting qualifying session ahead. As Caesar says hello from Qatar. How are you doing, Caesar? Right, so plenty of people on the track right now. Let me just change to a full map instead of a mini map. And let's follow around Shadow Sword, who is one of the quicker drivers in Indian Racing League. Races for Division 1 of the two divisions which we have, and finished the season on a kind of a high, took pole positions in France in the race. I'm not sure where he finished, but a good quick driver nonetheless. There's a McLaren behind is starting a hot lap as well. So here is now Shadow Sword, who has started his lap, but the exit wasn't the best, and now powering down the small straight before he approaches Rouge and then Ready On is absolutely flat out through there. And let's see if he does pick up the DRS, because on the main straight. Didn't seem like he was picking up the DRS on that one, but now approaching the end of the camel straight as he breaks into the third gear, and then this is a tricky section in itself. You can very easily lose the car here, and that was nicely done from Shadow Sword through the first sector, going down to the second gear before quickly up shifting to the third, and then the fifth, and then keeping in fifth before now approaching Puon. There's a car up front and looks like a Ferrari, so hopefully the car gets out of the way. There's a sector, there's a Williams off somewhere, both the Williams trying to make way for each other, maybe, not entirely sure, but there's a Williams stranded there, and the Renault of Shadow Sword is fast approaching that section of the track, and Mansell is retired. Wow, what happened to Mansell there? Let's quickly go on board with one of the Haas drivers. Where is Shah right now? Yeah, he's going there. Yeah, on the left you can see Mansell's car on the left, and he has retired from the session. Not sure what happened there. Maybe he lost the car, but Shah has invalidated his lap time as well, but he's on an out lap, so it doesn't really matter. Nadeem is on an Nadeem is on a push lap right now. Shadow Sword puts the marker down with a 143.4. Pretty sure he has more pace in the Renault of his, and let's pick up someone else who's on a lap right now. Is Sidwing? Oh, what happened to Quick Killer there? As Oliver goes P1 with a 43.3, and Upsy is off as well. Plenty of action the last week of the game, and plenty of action going on. Let's see what Shah is up to now. He's through Radion on the camel straight now, so he doesn't have a lot of traffic. He has two Ferraris in front of him. Nadeem goes P1 with a 41.6, the first driver in the 41s, and let's see if anyone can match that. But very strong lap from Nadeem, and Noah, I am back. I cannot miss this event, so I am back. And Shah had a moment there, and I think he might just back out of that one. He was probably too eager on the power, and I think he will have to go again to put in a competitive lap time. Meanwhile, Shadow Sword's teammate Nishan, so 5 minutes already in, 6 minutes in, just 3 people have put a lap time on the board. So not entirely sure what's going on here. We don't know what's the weather like in terms of the race. It looks pretty dry and sunny in Collie, but let's see what lap times these people put in. But it's surprising to see that more than 6 minutes have passed and I've seen only 3 people put in a lap time so far. Probably this means that people have been invalidating the lap time, so getting stuck in traffic or making mistakes, which is why they're not completing the laps. Now on board with Nishan, misses the apex slightly, goes a little bit deep into that corner, but then picks up the throttle nicely, and I think he might have lost some time through that section of corners, but nonetheless keeps it nice and tight. It's the game says he has gone purple there, picks up, well, doesn't really pick up a toe, does he? But he has smooth sailing through the rest of the lap. I don't think he'll be impeded at all. So let's see how he is finishing this lap, because this looks like a strong lap from Nishan and might put him ahead of his teammate. Let's see, down to the second gear, and then we'll short shift to third at the exit of the bus stop chicane, and across the line goes Nishan, and good lap from him. It's a 42.4, puts him on the front row for now. Meanwhile, Sid Venkatesh behind is on a lap, and he is getting a bit of a slipstream from the car in front. So that's Mayank in the Red Bull who was giving him a slipstream there, and Sid Venkatesh now. Let's see where he puts his car. We will go to Hushrao in a moment. Let's see what Sid Venkatesh does first of all. Sid Venkatesh goes P3, going to Hushrao, who is on the lap and has put the second sector, purple second sector in the Red Bull. So looking good for now, and let's see how he has one braking zone to navigate now. That's the bus stop chicane. Let's see if he catches the Williams before that. This is going to be tricky because the Williams is probably, no, he won't catch the Williams, so not really distraction from that perspective. He might even get a little bit of a toe maybe from the Williams on the front straight, but off through the, and he goes pole position for Hustrov, at least the provisional pole with a very strong lap time, the 41.5. That's a strong lap as well from Hustrov. So pretty good lap time being set him. Utkarsh, meanwhile, his racing point is a bit stranded. I think he was making way for someone. 43.4 for him. So only, as I said, half the field is more than half the field is yet to set a lap time in. Let's see what Mayank does meanwhile, as Lost Souls in the McLaren has gone P4 and Vicky with a strong time at the 42.8 in the Mercedes. What about his teammate Quick Killer? We saw Quick Killer not really, well, he's starting his lap now, but he was facing the opposite direction, and Azun has not put in a lap time either. So there are some quick drivers who are yet to put a lap time in. So let's see how this turns out. Mayank meanwhile is in the third sector and is going to finish the lap in just a couple of corners. He goes a little bit deep into that corner, the bus stop chicane, and now across the line goes Mayank and puts him P7 for now, just behind Sid Venkatesh. So pretty good representation in terms of lap times so far in the top 10, but that being said, only 10 people have set in their lap times. What is Quick Killer doing meanwhile? Quick Killer is on a lap and he is now through the chicane, which is Stavlo maybe. Is this corner Stavlo or is the next corner Stavlo? Is Passassin, I think that's how the name is pronounced. What a lap from Passassin, 41.1. That is mega quick, and that's 4 tenths, almost 4 tenths clear of anyone else in the field. That is a lap time which is hard to beat. That is almost in the 140s. And let's see what kind of lap time does Quick Killer put in his Mercedes to match that. Quick Killer across the line and he joins his teammate. He is just behind his teammate, not much to separate them, 42.9, which puts him P7. And Zoom meanwhile on an out lap. What's Shah doing? Shah has probably just started his lap as well. So let's go on board with someone who is, I think everyone else is on. Okay, so Shah is getting a bit of a swift stream, you can see that. And has it been executed to perfection? Not entirely sure there, because there was a bit of, it seemed like there was some confusion there in terms of which way should Quick Killer go, but Shah nonetheless is on his way. And let's see, this is exactly the part of the track where he lost the car on his first run, which is why he did not complete his lap. Keeps it tidy for now, and I think that's Nadeem who has popped up. Someone popped into the top 10. Was it Nadeem? I'm not entirely sure. But Nadeem has gone P3 there, and Shadow Sword has put in a good lap time as well with a 42.3. So both the Renaults sitting P4 and P5. And let's see, Azun also yet to set in a lap time. I think he's just started his lap, so he will just have enough time for one more run after this. I'm not entirely sure if even that will happen. And there's a Renault, which is a stranded Renault of, is he waiting for Azun? I don't think so. That's pretty far-fetched. But meanwhile, let's go back with Shah, who should be across the line any moment now and will be finishing his hot lap. Let's see if this puts him into top 10. It does. He goes P9 with a 42.9. So good lap time from him. 13 people have set the laps so far. And let's go back to Azun, who is his teammate, and now through the second sector. Right, so Azun through the chicane in the second sector and is pushing the car. You can see the car right on edge from the Haas driver, and it seems like a decent lap so far. There's a bit of a traffic jam at the start. Omex puts a 41.8, so another one of the quick drivers from SFR, the GP2 champion, which is Division 2 champion, has put in lap time which is quite representative, and now Zune is through the pit stop chicane, got a bit of a slipstream from the Ferrari, but not entirely a lot of time gained there as Zune goes P7. That's a good lap time from him, and he will have just enough time to go out, and that's a lockup which is there because of. Let's see what Hustrav does meanwhile. Hustrav has started his hot lap. He has 2 racing points in front of him, both of whom are achieved. He's down by a tenth in his first sector, so this might not be a good lap, or at least a better lap from Hustrav than his past lap. And let's see if he actually improves in the second sector, because not looking great right now. 1/10, that's the time he has lost, and 4/10 is the time he has to gain to make any kinds of inroads into the lap time by the Williams driver of SMM Assassin. Here we go. Hustrav now approaching 4 cars who are not on a hot lap right now. This will be tricky for him, but I think he will be able to see what the sector split is, and he's up by 2/10 almost. So that's a lot of time gained in the second sector. So maybe he made a mistake somewhere on his previous run. He might get some kind of a tow from the racing point in front. Let's hope they don't impede his lap time, because it's getting really close here. Yeah, and Sid Venkatesh very nicely moves out of the way so that Hushrav's racing. Oh, the Hushrav's coming back into the pits. Never mind. He will have time for one more lap. Meanwhile, Azun is still going, and okay, he's rushing back to the pits. That's what he's doing. What else? Mayank is on an out lap right now, so he's preparing for his final run. So good, I think. Yeah, still only 15 drivers who have set a lap time. Mansell will not set a lap time in because he's retired from the session. Oliver, who's one of the commentators for SFR, is back out onto the track for his final hot lap, as is Shadow Sword, and as I'm sure a lot of other drivers will be, but they have to hurry. Not a lot of time left. If you're not on the track right now, it's unlikely you will make it. So Vicky, I see Vicky coming out. I see some Haas driver coming out as well. There's a Red Bull of Hustra probably coming out as well, but they're keeping it quite late. Right, so Nishan is retired. Yeah, I think that's in the pits. So Nishan has had enough. Enosia has retired, and is Sid Venkatesh starting a hot lap? Yeah, Sid Venkatesh has started a hot lap, and he will be one of the first drivers to put lap time in. Sid Venkatesh on his final push lap, and well, still says hot lap for him, and if he's indeed on an out lap, not entirely sure whether he'll make it in time. But then let's go back to Shadow Sword, because he will be one of the first people to cross the finish line on the final runs, as he goes a bit deep into the first corner, avoids the inside curb completely, and let's see if it actually helps him gain time, because he might have probably picked the power a little bit earlier than he's used to. As up Aruj and now on the camel straight, and there's a clear track ahead of him. Let's see if he's improving on his time on the top left. He is not. He's down by almost half a tenth, but plenty of time to be gained in the second and the third sector. And let's see if he can. Oh, that's a huge slide from Shadow Sword, and I think that's his lap done. And let's follow someone else then. Is Utkarsh on a lap? Yeah, I think Utkarsh is on a lap right now. Azun is making it really tight, and he will just about make it in time. This is close from Azun. With 2 seconds on the clock, he has started his final hot lap, and let's see if he can go higher than P7. He has a racing point in front of him. which might give him some tow, but maybe he's too close and might lose out on the corners there. We'll have to wait and watch. Oh, what happened to Omex? Oh, Shadow Sword. Yeah, that's fine. Hushra, oh, by the way, is up by half a tenth, and Passassin has gone even faster. He's the first person into the 140s. Let's see if the likes of Hushra and maybe Nadeem can match him and follow him into the 140s. Hushra is looking. The car was really planted through those couple of corners as he threw on. Looked like he lost the car slightly, but I think he has capped it, and now approaching his teammate. I think that's his teammate up ahead in Mayank. Let's see if he's able to improve even more, as using all the track available to him is up by 3 tenths there. So this is going to be a good lap time from Hushra when he needs it, because look at the time on the top left. There have been a couple of people who has jumped him, so Hushra needs a really good lap time to ensure that he joins the SFR drivers on the front row, maybe, as he now navigates the final chicane, the bus stop chicane, and across the finish line. Utkarsh is going to be on the front row. He is P2, and I think that should seal the top fight. Mayank meanwhile has gone P8, Azun has finished P7, and Quick Killer is finished P12, Utkarsh in P13, Nishan finishing P10. He would have probably liked to finish P11 and got a free tire choice if it's a dry race. But that's probably the grid. Yeah, that's it in terms of the grid for the race. And good mix of both IRL and SFR drivers. So this should be a lot of fun, and let's hope for a good race. Right, so we'll quickly have a rundown of the grid order. SMM Passassin on pole position with a 40.8, and Hushrav has put his car on the front row with a 141.1. Jensen and Nadeem on the second row of the grid, followed by Upsi and Omex. Azun in P7, a strong qualifying performance from him, as well as Mayank, who occupy the fourth row on the grid. Shadow Sword and Nishan, Renault teammates, on the fourth row, and both are the final drivers who will not have any tire choice. Lost Souls, Utkarsh, Quick Killer, Shah, and Vicky are in the top 15, with Sid Venkatesh in the top 16, and I think Oliver and Enosia and Mansell as well as Martin are at the back of the grid. So should be an interesting race. We will take a quick 10-second, 15-second break, and then we'll be back for the formation lap where it's raining. Completely missed that. It is wet in Spa, and what a race we have on our hands here. I really need to get that bottle of water, but there's plenty of water on the track. Just give me a moment, guys, as I recover from this shock. Well, the F1 gods have smiled upon us, and we have full wet conditions in Spa right now. What about that? You can see the tires. Everyone is on the full wet tires, and it seems like it is a full wet race. I think I'm having some audio issues. Just let me know if I'm audible, because I think there's some audio issues. Right, we are back, and I hope that I'm audible on the stream. Just let me know, as Caesar says RLD1 has left the chat indeed. But finally there was rain in France, I believe, so at least there was one wet race in France. And yeah, Sonic Hawk is saying Hushrav has really caught him out. But yeah, Hushrav is a really fast driver, was not racing for most of the season. I think he joined us pretty late in Division 1. Had an eventful race, to say the least, in France, where he got tangled up in incidents and had to retire from the race. But yeah, one of the faster drivers, and let's hope for a good race here, as the drivers are now making their way through the final sector before they set their cars on the grid. And yep, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting. Wheel spin at the start, especially because of these conditions, as Oliver has been disqualified and sent back to the grid, as has been Sid Venkatesh. So the two of them would have had a coming together on the formation lap, but no harm done. They would still get to race, and we have all the 20 drivers in view now, as the pole setter of Assassin and Hushrav, who are on the front row, wait for the grid to line up. And this should be a fun race with a lot of battles, I hope, but because it's wet, you can never be too sure. Here we go. Not getting a good... Let's wait for the lights to... Yeah, those are the 5 lights, and lights out, and we're underway. I think Assassin has got a good start, but Hushrav might challenge him into turn 1. If he goes around the outside, I think for now he has to stand back for P1. But here is Hushrav now, and I think further behind, it seems a pretty clean start for everyone. I don't see a lot of issues for drivers. There are drivers going side by side through Rouge. I think that was Omex and Jensen was going side by side. They're going still side by side as Hushrav and Martin has a 5-second time penalty. It's a virtual safety car, and Shah has a 5-second penalty as well. So there are penalties for 4 drivers already, as Omex and Jensen are still fighting, and there are more penalties being dished out for Martin. Mayank has, oh my god, it's absolutely gone crazy here. Mayank and Sid Venkatesh have penalties as well, and are both the racing points at the back of the grid? Yes, they are. So not a good sign for either of them, especially with time penalties. They are under the VSC, so I don't think it will stay on for that much longer as we go racing again. And up front the gap is less than 3/10 or less than 4/10, I would say, but Hushrav is not letting Assassin get away with it. So what's happening further behind? Lost Souls and Mayank are battling. Mayank in P10 right now, and the Red Bulls are having both the cars in top 10 right now, as Vicky tries to go around the outside, and Vicky has made that place. So that's good battling from them, as Shah and Martin are battling behind. And yeah, Shah is through. Nishan has lost a lot of places and all that. Nishan, I think, started P10 and is now P15. So that's something which we missed. Both the Renaults losing positions at the start. But as things stand, Assassin's fastest lap of the race, I don't think anyone is in the pits, so maybe no one had damage. But look at Utkarsh, he's 7 seconds off his teammate, so maybe he has damage. We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of time penalties, look at this. Mayank has a 5 second, so is Anosia, and Martin and Mansell with 15 and 10 seconds time penalties each. Something has happened to Quick Killer and he has retired from the session. That's Upper Rouge, I think. And we'll have a look that it's a virtual safety car again. Yeah, that's Upper Rouge. So maybe he put too much power. That's his Mercedes. As Utkarsh and Sid both are in the pit, so they are double stacking. It's a virtual safety car, not a full close safety car. And yep, Thakurva, you definitely cursed Quick Killer with that prediction. He is not going to win the race. In fact, he's the first person to DNF from the race. But as things stand, still have 19 drivers running. Virtual safety car is still out. And let's see when we go running. Yeah, that's right about now. As Jensen now on the back of Hushrav. So this is going to be tricky for the Red Bull driver. He lost a bit of a touch under the safety car period as SFR Oliver makes a move on Shadow Sword. So Shadow Sword down in P12. But here we go. This is going to be close here between these two drivers because Oliver has Mayank now in front of him. And look at the conditions right now. The drivers are really struggling. And it's hard to keep the car on the track, let alone battle someone for position and trying to overtake people in these conditions. Oh, no. Going flat out through there is not advisable, and Shadow Sword is out of the session. Well, Hushrav and SM Assassin are swapping positions. It's a third VSC in as many laps. And yep, who did Shadow Sword collect there? Oh, it's a 5-second penalty for Assassin for ignoring yellow flags. And that would really interest the likes of Hushrav as Martin and Wenzel both in the pits. And Nishan is now the only Renault driver who's still racing as Oliver is on the back of Mayank. It's a virtual safety car again. Not sure what's going on. Is this a glitch right now? Nishan has a drive-through for speeding under the VSC. And the VSC is now off. Martin has retired. What's happening? So Martin has retired in the pits. Okay, so probably connection issues. But what is happening right now? Nishan has a drive-through. I am unable to keep up with what's happening right now. The yellow flag in sector 1, that's because of Martin's car. Okay, so Ashwin is saying Shadow got a tap from behind. I think there was an Alpha Tauri behind him. Maybe behind Shadow. I'm not entirely sure, but I think there was an Alpha Tauri when I saw him crash. But either ways, race is not going good for so many people right now. And Azun is fighting a McLaren car, which usually he drives, but here goes Lost Souls, and he has made the move cleanly through the bus stop chicane, and that's Lost Souls into P7. Azun has to stay behind in P8, and Martin has now left the session. What's going on with Nishan? I think he's serving his drive-through, and he'll still not be dead last. I think I see Shah has now set the fastest lap of the race, and I think that's because this is the first full lap he might have done without any VSCs, so that has helped him out, and yes, he will come out ahead of Nishan, who's now exiting the pits. What's happening up ahead? Jensen and Hushrav are fighting for P2, and all the while Assassin's 5-second penalty looks like he might be able to create that gap if these people fight more and more, and if Hushrav is not able to catch up to him. But as I say that, Hushrav is catching up to him, so let's see. Oliver meanwhile still behind Mayank, so Oliver in P11, Mayank in the Red Bull is P10 is holding ground, and let's hope that the likes of Shah and Nishan can catch up pretty soon. So the drivers in the bottom of the grid after the top 10 are pretty spread out, except for Oliver and Mayank, but the battle for the top positions is pretty close right now. And Noah, I will explain after the race why am I not racing, or rather why is VFix not racing. But it's a pretty intense battle right now as Shah has retired. Oh, where has Shah retired? Is that also on Aruj? It's a full course safety car right now, and Shah has retired somewhere. Yeah, that's in the second sector. It's a first safety car. Assassin has pit, and Thakurwa, you have jinxed Shah. I blame you for that. We have had 4 retirements already, and our race leader is in the pits. He is serving his 5-second penalty. He will drop down to P10. Yeah, that's where he will drop down to, and Hushrav now becomes the race leader. But 5 laps done, and we already have 4 retirements. 3 of those who are IRL drivers, and 1 SFR Martin who had to retire in the pits probably because of connection issues to Thakurwa. I think, yeah, that's now you have changed your comments, and yeah, you have put the curse on a lot of drivers tonight. So I hope you are. Oh, what's happening with Assassin? I think he's waiting for the Delta, but here we go. So Mayank has a, oh my god, more penalties on the way. Mayank has a time penalty for collision with Oliver, so I guess both of them have time penalty. Mayank has 10 seconds now. It's penalties galore. Well, you don't see a lot of penalties right now because a lot of them have been served under the safety car. But this is not good news for the drivers who are trying to just keep the car on the track, and they're getting penalties for contact under the safety car, ignoring yellow flags, and about 100 other reasons. Right, so I think the safety car will stay on for one more lap. And Caesar, to answer your question, well, the strategy screen said that the weather is going to be wet or fully wet for the entirety of the race, and right now I don't see any signs of the rain decreasing, so it is definitely full wet conditions right now, not even inters. So I think we will have to wait a while before we can even think, or we can hope that we see some dry running. It's a long race, 17 laps to go, and 17 laps around Spa are a lot of laps. Safety car is staying out for one more lap, and let's see if the likes of Hushrav dive into the pits. He doesn't. Jensen stays out. Nadeem upsees into the pits. I think he might have damaged the Alpha Tauri from that contact with the pit wall. Vicky stays out. Mayank has stayed out as well. I thought Mayank would pit to try to negate his 10 seconds penalty, but he stays out in the Red Bull, and Nishan has stayed out as well. So Nishan, because he had served that drive-through already, he's sitting P11 right now. That's just one position off from when he started. Oh, okay, you're talking about the tires. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe Noah has answered your question. I'm not entirely sure. You know, I am a noob when it comes to racing and tire lives. So, yeah, I don't know if they can go to the end. Upsi, by the way, has gone on inters. That's a gamble, I think, in these conditions. Unless he knows something we don't. He's trying to weave on the straight, and he almost ran into the back of Mansell there. But really, is that going to happen? That he just overtook Mansell under the safety car. Okay, I really don't know what happened there. or at least I could see what happened, but I'm not sure why it happened. Utkarsh is on the inters as well, so maybe conditions are taking a turn for the better. Let's hope that Utkarsh can keep it in one piece in these tricky conditions and not have the same fate as his fellow drivers, at least three of them. But I think the safety car should be coming in at the end of this lap. I'm not sure if Utkarsh will have enough time to catch up to the field. We will have to wait and watch. But here we go. Thakur was sort out your keyboard. Please sort out your keyboard. You made 3 typos, or 2 typos rather. But let's see, is the message popping up on our screens, because we are in the third sector and I don't see the message of safety car coming in. So is it going to stay out for one more lap? That's good news for the likes of Passassin, because he can preserve his tires for one more lap. And yeah, I don't think the safety car is coming in. If it comes in now, it's too late of a call. You can see the helicopter shot of Hushrav and Jensen fighting it out as Jensen goes really close to oh, that's just a glitch maybe. But safety car is coming in. I can see the safety car. No, it's not coming in. So right, safety car is out for one more lap. Mayank finally pits, so yeah, he does pit, and well, he's going to come out last anyway, so I think that's fine. He's going to serve his penalty, and unfortunate for him, oh, Nishan is pitting as well, so Nishan on the inters, so at least some drivers think of inters. So is Mayank, so is Sid Venkatesh, I think. So both the racing points on the intermediate tires. As I see, the committee has entered the chat, and this is going to be interesting now. It will be really interesting to see the pace of the intermediate tire runners, which are all of them are, neither of them are in the top 10. So let's see if they can make their way up the field. The rain, I don't know, I'm running on board with these people. I don't see that the rain has worsened as, oh, that was a bit close. Could have ended in a penalty for any of the drivers, but I'm running on board and I don't think that the rain has lessened, so I am not sure why drivers are going on the inters. Maybe the weather is going to lighten up, or the rain is going to be light in the next few minutes. We'll have to wait and see. But if the safety car does not come in at the end of this lap, I think I don't know. It has to come in. It seems like it has gone on forever now, and because it's wet conditions, this is one of the longest laps the drivers would be doing across all circuits on the calendar in this full wet conditions. So here we go. I think we should be seeing the safety car coming in at the end of this lap, and after that, yeah, that's the confirmation on the bottom left. And yep, let's go racing for, is it 15 laps after this one, and see if Passassin's tire can last the whole race. It is possible, as Noah said, but I'm not entirely sure, as Hushrav now becomes the safety car by himself, and he will be charging through and deciding when to finally go. He will wait for the safety car to peel into the pits, which is right about now, and this gives me Division 1 vibes. Was it not that it was, I think, Belgium? Yeah, it was Belgium when we had a safety car under wet conditions and a lot of drivers had pitted for dries. We see some drivers pitted for inters, but Hushrav has gone, and let's see what happens with the drivers on inters right now as it stands. Oh, what's happening with Passassin and Oliver? I think Oliver is letting him through, and Passassin is through. So that's him into P7. What's happening further behind? Can anyone challenge the likes of Mansell, let's say, for positions? As what's happening with Oliver again? Oliver has lost one more position, so I think he has let Lost Souls through now. Oliver into P9, and up front, Jensen and Hushrav in a battle of their own. The gap less than a second, but that does not really matter much in these conditions because it's so tough to overtake on this track in these conditions. So Azun and Vicky yet to pit in P5 and P6. I think they are running a really good race, and let's see when they pit right now. As Thakurwa is trying his best to jinx other drivers, but I hope it works, Thakurwa, because I think you have used all the charm you had. As Jensen and Vicky are in a battle of their own. Vicky is trying to hold it round the outside. He might still stick it down the inside. He does. So that's Assassin and Vicky going side by side. I'm on board with Lost Souls right now. Assassin has finally made his way through. So he is making his way through the pack. Something has happened with... not sure what happened there, but here we go. On board with Lost Souls, who is also trying to move on Vicky right now. Let's see if he can go around the outside. No, he does not. Vicky does cover the inside and will have the inside for the next corner as well. Hushrav sets the fastest lap of the race, which was the first lap after the safety car. And this is turning into a really intense battle right now. Vicky is holding on, and meanwhile Assassin is on an absolute charge. I think next target is Azun, who is running P5 right now, and Assassin holds the car well and will probably favor a move on the outside or on the inside. Let's see where he goes, and that's a huge crash, I think. Yeah, Azun it hasn't crashed as such. He's still running, but he has lost about 6 positions there. And thank you, Herschel. Thank you so much for dropping in a comment for Azun. I really thank you for that. Here we go. Hushrav still leading. I think that's a ray of hope in this dark, cloudy and rainy Spa tonight. What's happening further behind, as Oliver is on a slide and is trying to get past Vicky, who was overtaken by Lost Souls as well as Assassin lap earlier. Omex gets a 3-second time penalty. He is running P3 right now, and yeah, Herschel, you did just curse a zone. Vicky gets a time penalty for track extension, and I don't see, well, Upsi is now on the back of Mansell, but I don't see the intermediate runners making any sort of impressions on the wet runners. So maybe it was not the correct call. Not entirely sure, as Hushrav sets the fastest lap again. Azun is trying to hold up Oshia, and Azun is now in the pits. I think he has damage, so he has to pit. And what's happening with Oliver? He has gone too deep into that corner, and Vicky will say thank you very much. He takes the position back, and now on board with Mansell, who I think started from the back of the grid. And let's see what Oliver does. Oliver on the back of Vicky. Oliver will have to go around the outside if he wants to make an overtake here, but I think he will just run out of straight before he does that and has to settle for P8 right now. Azun has come out at the bottom of the grid in P16. He's on the intermediate tires, so a lot of drivers. Utkarsh, oh, that's unfortunate. He gets a 3-second time penalty for track extension, but the intermediate tires don't seem to be working right now, but they're still favoring those tires, a lot of drivers, so not entirely sure what their strategy is. Up ahead in terms of gap to leader, Assassin is 5 seconds off Hushraf right now, and Hushraf has to make a pit stop. So let's wait and see as Oliver gives the place to Mansell. But let's see when Hushraf actually pits, because he will definitely come out behind Assassin, Vicky, and Mansell. But let's see if Assassin has to make a pit stop or can he go to the end. That is something which we have to see and wait and watch. Nishan and Mayank are in a battle of their own, and let's see if there are any team orders. So Hushraf puts in another fastest lap, so he's trying to go as fast as he can, as long as he can. And well, technically you don't have to make a pit stop, so I don't know what his tire wear is like, but he can go to the end if he wants to. He doesn't need to make a stop, but I think that will be asking a bit too much from these drivers. And now it's Mansell who's on the back of Vicky, and Mansell has a lot of battery left. Vicky does not seem to have that, as Assassin has now gotten past Nadeem as well. Mansell on the outside, Vicky on the inside. Vicky covers the inside and stays in front for one more corner, on board with Upsi in the Alpha Tauri, and Mansell will try to go down the inside, but Vicky covers him off nicely. So that's really good defensive driving from Vicky, as he holds the drivers from getting those positions and tries to help out his teammates. And one of the closest battle right now is this for P7, and Mansell is losing time to the likes of Nadeem and Lost Souls, so they have to be careful that once Mansell is free, he will be charging at others. Mansell, just as he loses his car there, and Upsi is through, and wow, he almost lost his car, and fortunately for him did not DNF or did not go into the gravel trap, which is why he's still running. He has lost a position, but is still running in P9. Upsi, by the way, on the back of Vicky now, and this is Inters versus Vets. Upsi is using a lot of battery power. He might go down the inside. Vicky closes it off nicely, and he is. Let's see what the traction is like for both the drivers. Vicky is on the inside still, as Utkarsh has overtaken, or that's in the pits. But here we go on the traction. Oh, Vicky almost loses it, but this is really close. And are they really going to go side by side up Parouj? Upsi just has a position. Vicky has to stay back for now, and Mansell has to lift off massively, as Assassin has now made a move on Omegs as well. And let's see if Mansell can make his way through. Maybe a late lunge. Yeah, thinks better of it and stays behind in P9 right now. But really good driving from Vicky, and is doing his best right now in these conditions. Let's see if he can actually go on Inters, because not sure. A lot of drivers are favoring Inters. You can see the field is almost more than evenly spread. You can see more drivers on intermediate tires than you see on wet tires. So you'll have to wait and watch. So maybe this is a good time for Hushraf to pit for intermediate tires and have a better tire advantage than the likes of Assassin, who will be on the wets. So we will wait for the next few laps to see what happens. But Shah is in the chat and is thanking Thakurwa for absolutely demolishing his race. So Shah, what happened to you? Was that up? Was it on the camera straight after Radion, or was it somewhere else? Did you DNF? Hushraf in the pits, just as we called it. Hushraf into the pits, and so is Jensen. Assassin goes on for one more lap. I think he's probably determined to. Which tires is Hushraf goes on to? Yeah, those are intermediate tires, and let's hope that's a glitch. Yeah, it is a glitch. He's back, and he should be coming out. is going to be jumped by a few drivers here. He will still come out in, yeah, P5. He'll come out in P5 behind Upsi. So right, that's the gap basically to Passassin. He is 12 seconds behind, and that's the gap he has to close down. Let's see what kind of a fight the likes of Upsi and Lost Soul put to him. But Mansell and Oliver, Mansell is pitting actually, and he has pit on a set of intermediate tires. Azun, after having that incident with one of the drivers, I think it was Passassin, with which he had coming together on this very straight, is still running. He was in a very good position, but he's in P13 right now. Vicky has pitted and is running P12, Nishan in P10, Sid Venkatesh in P9, P11, Mayank in P9. He has had a eventful race, and Utkarsh, who was at the back of the grid on lap 1, is now running P7, and let's see if he's hoping to go to the end of the race. I'm not entirely sure, but the track has definitely dried up, and with 9 laps to go after this one, can we see some dry running? That's the question. And wets will be really slow right now, I think. So Utkarsh, keep it together please. Yes, he does. But let's follow this battle now. Hushrav on those new intermediate tires, absolutely flying right now, and he has caught up to Upsi in no time. Passassin has pit, so has Omex. So these two are definitely pitting and probably going on a set of intermediate tires, so they will lose those positions, and Hushrav will be P2 before they come out. Lost Souls is in the pits as well. He's going on a set of intermediate tires. And where does Passassin come out? It's going to be close with Utkarsh, but Utkarsh has to stay behind. So Passassin on the intermediates as well. Omex has come behind Utkarsh, and in terms of penalties, both of them have 3 seconds. So this is really interesting now. Utkarsh has the track position. Omex using a lot of battery to get past. Let's hope if Utkarsh can keep the position. Utkarsh has taken the inside line. Omex is trying to go around the outside. That doesn't have much room there, and Utkarsh has the position for now. Passassin has a 3-second time penalty. And the race has just... So the Williams are running P3 and P4, and that is good news for Hushrav, because now that's the gap he has, and he has 7 left fresher tires than Upsi, who had a moment coming out of that corner. So Utkarsh and Jensen on the exact same strategy, and I think what Upsi might be trying to do is to try and back Hushrav into Jensen, so that he can make a mistake and maybe Jensen can pull through. But Utkarsh has a lot of ERS. You can see he's using it on the straight to get closer. And is he going to make a move in the bus stop chicane? We'll have to wait. But yeah, he is through. Whoa, what happened to Upsi there? Did he just move out of the way? I was looking away for a moment, and just like that, Hushrav is in the lead of the race. Omex has gotten past Utkarsh, and he's probably now going to defend from Nadeem. So with 7 laps to go, this is looking good for Hushrav, and he has to just hold on for a few more laps. It is definitely drying right now. The rain has eased up, but it is still raining, so the drivers cannot think of dry tires just yet. But there is a huge train behind Sid Venkatesh right now, which is Azun, Oliver, Mansell and Inosia, who are raring to get past. Let's see if Sid Venkatesh makes his intentions clear in terms of trying to get past, or trying to not let others get past. But here comes Oliver now on the back of Azun, and Oliver is probably going to make that move. Let's see if Azun can fight back. It's Oliver who has taken the place. Oliver in P13. Azun has to drop back to P14. Omex has a time penalty. That's a 3-second time penalty he has. And yeah, as things stands, a lot of drivers with time penalty, so their positions might change, like Vicky, who is running P11 right now, and he has to work a little harder after that incident to get into the points. Up front, Hushrav, the gap has been extended. It's more than a second now, and 7 laps to go after this one. He just has to hold on and ensure he nails every apex, picks every braking point, and be as smooth and gentle on the throttle as possible. As Nishan has been passed by Vicky, I think that is to ensure that Vicky can get a look at what's happening with Azun and Mansell. I definitely saw what's happening. Oh, Sid Venkatesh has retired. Sid Venkatesh has retired. It's a VSC, and let's see if someone dives into the pits. No, I think everyone has passed the pits. Yeah, Oliver is into the pits. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Sid Venkatesh, I'm not entirely sure what happened. I was not on board with him or not spectating him, but he has retired, so that's 5 retirements in total, and we just have 15 runners now. And well, I think that's the 4th virtual safety car of this race, and it's really drying up pretty quickly right now. This is giving me Belgium Division 1 vibes. Absolutely. Well, it didn't start off at a wet race, that race, but it dried near to the end of the race and drivers had to pit on dry tires. We are far away from wet conditions, dry conditions right now, but we are green again, and on board with Jensen. Mayank gets a 3-second time penalty, so that's not going to help at all. And well, let's wait and watch as Hushrav has gone again and has extended that gap. So he seems to be in pretty much control of his race right now. And okay, so Sid is saying he was hit by Oliver from behind. Okay, so maybe they were battling and that happened, but he was in a good position until then, and he was having a good race until then. What's happening with Utkarsh and Nadeem? Meanwhile, Nadeem is on the back of Utkarsh, and Utkarsh has lost his teammate from the race, but he still has his own race to focus on, and you can see from this shot that he's being caught by faster drivers who are on fresher tires. That's predominantly why they might be faster, and they will be trying to make their way past Utkarsh, who seems to have a very topsy-turvy race until this point. Let's see what Upsy and Jensen do now, because Assassin has a 3-second time penalty, so it will be interesting to see if they let him pass. Yeah, just as I said it, Assassin is passed and Upsy drops into P4. Nadeem is trying his best to get past Utkarsh, but he's behind for now, and Vicky and Mayank have swapped places, so that's Vicky into P9. What happened to Utkarsh? He's sandwiched into 2 cars and he's still trying to fight his way through, and there's Lost Souls who has lost a position in that, and there's Lost Souls who almost was in the wall because of that. And Thakurwa, you can really stop trying. It will not work anymore. it will not. What's happening with Oliver and Soa? What's happening with Oliver? What's happening with Enosia? And I'll just call him Andreas. It's easier that way. But right, yeah, as Jin said, time for some calm, and this seems like it's going to be a wet race throughout. It's not going to dry up anytime soon, and right, Jensen pushed the fastest lap of the race, so maybe he has started pushing now. He has closed on the gap to within 1 second again. For sure, he won't get DRS in these conditions, but it seems like he has found some pace. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. That's the Alpha Tauri of Enosia, who has lost some traction, but Hushrav making his intentions very clear about how he is going to defend that corner, and he stays in the lead for one more lap or one more corner. Utkarsh meanwhile is being caught by Lost Souls again, and let's see, Lost Souls does not have enough DRS, or rather battery, to challenge him this time, as Nishan and Vicky both get time penalties, so not a good race for them at least this point in time, as Lost Souls goes really wide there and has to get off the power to come back onto the track, and Utkarsh is still in P7. So let's have a look at time penalties, because only a few laps to go, as Andreas has retired from the session in the pit lane, so that will not bring out any safety car for now, as Utkarsh and Lost Souls both have 3 seconds. Okay, so I did not know that both have the same time penalties. So this is for position. Utkarsh can actually finish P7 if he keeps the position. So this is going to be interesting, as Lost Souls is still trying his best to get past the racing point, but is just not able to make his way through. Up front, the gap has stayed that around that 1 second mark still, and the Red Bull of Hushrav is enjoying these conditions in Spa, and which is why he is leading, and he needs 4 more laps now of such consistency to finish on the top step of the podium. Here we go, Lost Souls really close to Utkarsh this time. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1? It doesn't seem like it, unless there's a late lunge. Stays behind for now. Utkarsh will focus on the exit of La Source, and he seems to have an equally good exit as did Lost Souls on that corner. Let's ride on board with Lost Souls, who has little bit more ERS than last time. What's happened with Mayank and Mansell meanwhile, and Mansell has made his way through, and Mansell into P10. What's happening with Lost Souls and Utkarsh? Utkarsh has to concede that position finally, so Utkarsh has lost that position, and Lost Souls is into P7, and Utkarsh has to be content with P8 right now, as Mansell is looking to gain a lot of positions because of his consistency while driving. He has kept it within track limits and does not have any penalties to his lane. Meanwhile, Vicky is bound to lose a lot of positions because of that. So Mansell, I think he has started from the back of the grid, so that will be a good recovery drive as far as the McLaren is concerned. Meanwhile, his teammate is into P7, and I think that's where he might finish if all things go to plan. Thakurwa, just stop it. It's not RIP IRL. We have one driver who is leading the race. We have 2 more drivers who are in the points. Come on. And just as I say that, Hushrav and Jensen, the gap has closed, and it's just 5 tenths right now, as Passassin has now set in the fastest lap of the race. But what's more important is that he has a 3 second time penalty, so I don't think he is in the contention for race win right now. Here we go, up Aruj and Radion. Azun gets a 3 second time penalty as well, but Hushrav is now definitely feeling some pressure from Jensen, who's trying his best to unsettle the Red Bull driver, but has to stay behind for now. Hushrav misses the apex a little bit, looking on board from Jensen, but has to stay within the track limits. And yeah, his DRS management has been better despite staying in the lead. What's happening meanwhile with Mansell? He's definitely closing the gap to Vicky, and he will take that P9 from Vicky because of time penalties to the former. But here we go. PSI is in the chat. PSI, you know these conditions better than anyone. Intermediate tires around Spa, that's something you would definitely enjoy. And what a battle we have had for the lead so far. Lap after lap, the gap has never been more than 1.5 seconds, and it seems like Jensen is really putting the pressure on this final few laps to, as Utkarsh gets a 3-second time penalty at 6 seconds for him, and if he gets any more penalties he might lose a position to Mansell here, so he has to be absolutely accurate with his driving, as Husrav has started lap 21 of 22 behind them. Passasin is really pushing. Jensen has got a little deep into that corner, and 2 laps. I'm in the commentator's box, I'm not driving, but this is really tense right now. Jensen, Jensen, what happened to him? I'm sorry for shouting, but Jensen has binned it into the wall. Passasin will get him, and well, Passasin is definitely going to overtake, and that's what he has done, and that would be a really relieving moment for Husrav, because he can just focus on his race now. He knows the driver behind him or directly behind him has a penalty, and Jensen most probably has damage. Let's ride with him. Yeah, that's the end plate gone, the right hand end plate gone for Jensen, so Jensen might finish, well, he'll still finish in the podium maybe. It's 1.5 laps to go, but he'll probably lose out on P2 as well. Yeah, he'll definitely lose out on P2. Look at the time he's losing after each corner because of the lack of downforce in these conditions. And Husrav, with a sector and a lap to go, is just 1 lap away now from a very prestigious win in this league versus league event. What's happening meanwhile? Omex and Upsi are in a battle of their own, but Omex has a lot of time penalty, so that really won't concern Upsi at all. And Jensen is basically losing time hand over fist. Azun with another 3-second time penalty. At this point he's just collecting penalties for the sake, but let's ride with Husrav for the rest of the lap and admire this drive from this. Mayank gets a 3-second time penalty as well, but what a drive this has been from Husrav. It seemed like the race was going away a little bit from him because of the conditions and people were sticking on those tires, and he was just 5 seconds ahead with a pit stop lesser than Passasin, but the conditions have turned and his flawless driving has enabled him to lead the race for most of it, especially after the safety car came out. I think that was lap 5 or something, and Vicky has gotten another time penalty, so he's going to lose more positions. But as things stand, it's looking good for Husrav in the Red Bull. Just half a lap to go through Puon. He's now, this is where Caesar and Racing Gupta crashed. If you have followed Division 1 races of Indian Racing League, through the chicane in sector 2, and let's ride on board with him for the rest of the lap. And look at Jensen, who has lost so many positions there, so much time there. Omax is now in the podium, but he has time penalty, so he might not finish on the podium. But here we go, he's depleting all the ERS he has, as Husrav in one of the best races I have seen from him. He hasn't raced much with us, so but this is what he can do, and that's his caliber. Is rounding off the final corner now, as Husrav from Indian Racing League in his Red Bull is across the line and wins the league versus league event. Passasin finishes P2. Omex will finish P3 on track, but will lose positions to Jensen as well as Absi. Nadeem might jump a few positions. Yeah, he does. He finishes P5. Lost Souls will finish P6, P7, and Utkarsh will finish P8. So that's a good time, good race from Utkarsh. Vicky will finish behind Mansell. I'm pretty sure Mansell jumps Utkarsh as well by 6 tenths, and Mayank is going to finish P11 with Nishan, who lost his teammate in P13. Azun jumps. That's a lot of changing positions, but Nishan finally finishes P11. Azun P12, Mayank P13, Oliver P14, but 6 DNFs. Well, 6 DNFs, but that has been the race. What an eventful race in a very, very tricky conditions. Mansell is given the driver of the day by the game. It has been a good drive from him from back of the grid to, was it P8? I'm not entirely sure, maybe P7. But that is the celebration from Utkarsh. And was it the Seb Vettel celebration in one of the races? I think it was Bahrain where he did that. Let's enjoy this ceremony before we go into the party and talk to a few drivers. But that is, I think, the third win for Indian Racing League in these league versus league events. So it has been a good run of these events as we have the final few days on the reign, as that's a confirmation. Hushra finishes in P1, Pasasin in P2, Jensen in P3. Those are your podium finishers. Upsi in P4, Nadeem in P5, Omex in P6, Lost Souls in P7, Mansell starting from P19 into P8. Utkarsh had a really topsy-turvy race in P9, and Vicky last man in the points in P10. So overall 1, 2 and 3 drivers finishing in the points, with obviously Hushraf taking the checkered flag first before anyone, as Nishan, Azun, Mayank and Oliver were the other finishers. The non-finishers were Anosha, Sid Venkatesh, Shah, Martin, Shadow Sword and Quick Killer. So that has been the race. We will quickly see if we can enter the party chat and talk to a few drivers. So apologies for the blank screen or the blue screen in front of you, but few drivers to have a chat with us. Yeah, here we are. I don't see Hushraf yet. He left. Can you invite him again? We'd like to have a chat with him if he's free right now. But while we do that, Mayank, Utkarsh, Vicky, Azun, you are all audible on the stream. So please walk us through the race and how were the conditions and how did you like battling with these drivers?
I mean, so the drivers were pretty quick. They all had some really good drivers. Conditions were kind of tricky. I think none of us, I mean, most of us didn't want a wet race, but yeah, a very good wins from Harsha and some decent points from Utkarsh, and I think that's the best we could have done. I mean, there was obviously scope for improvement, but we'll take it.
Right. Azun, what about you? You were running really good. You and Vicky both actually were running pretty good in the first end of the race. I think you had a coming together with Pasas and Azun, if I'm not wrong, on the Camel Straight, where I think you suffered some damage and then were forced to pit. So what went on there, and how did your race develop after that? Yeah, Hushraf taking his win. Not sure if he's going to join us, but either ways, strong race from you, Azun. You and Vicky both. I think Vicky was doing his bit by defending from a lot of drivers, so we definitely caught that on the stream. So kudos to you both. Coming to you, Utkarsh, you were P20 if I'm not wrong at the end of lap one,
Yeah.
and you still
Yes.
managed to finish in the point. I think you finished P9. So, how was your race and how was your battle with the likes of Lost Souls and I think a couple of other drivers from SFR, and how are the conditions for you?
So I think it's no surprise or it's no hidden fact that I absolutely hate wet races, and my heart just sank when I saw that race is gonna be wet. But I was like, "ठीक है, the team's gonna help me out," and honestly, they did. I never knew that you have to run a very high ride height in wet races.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyways, coming to the race, I think I was side by side with Shah going into Auruj, and then I lifted to give him the space. He went ahead, and then when I followed, he had to brake because of traffic in front, and that just completely ruined my race. It broke my front wing completely. I got P20, but then VSC sort of helped me a little bit when I had to crawl back into the pits. I had to change tires. So first pit, then drove normally, no incident. I was solitary, being last. And then when the weather was changing, I sort of said that I got nothing to lose, so why not try and give others some input on inters. But I put on winters and then tried to stretch it to the end. Unfortunately, I had a couple of penalties which resulted in me dropping out 2 positions, but it's all right. I think this is my best wet weather driving ever.
Right. So good for you, because this is probably one of the last races you will do on this game, assuming you are going to buy the next one. So good to sign off on
I am.
F1 2020 with style, scoring points after being last on lap 1. Coming to Mayank, who had, I think, 10 seconds of time penalties before the first safety car came out, or rather the only safety car came out. What went on during those first laps, where we saw 3 or 4 VSCs in the first few laps, and I think you got tangled in a couple of incidents as well, which resulted into time penalties for you.
Yeah, I mean, that was all unfortunate. I really hope that there was a steward after the race, but I came to know there was not any. So, yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, in the safety car, I mean, the guy behind, some CFR guy, I don't remember the name, tapped me and got a 5 second. Likewise, I got one more. Anyways, other than that, I believe the SFR guys were really clean, disciplined, and when it comes to overtake, they were really good. As far as the race is concerned, obviously nobody likes sweat. Same goes with me also. I hate it to absolute. But the thing is that these races actually helps you a lot in your game. So kudos to SFR guys. And yeah, as far as strategies are concerned, I think there was a time of crossover where we were actually thinking between wets and inters. So we went on inters. That paid off really well. Other than penalties, I believe it was a really good race and really fun playing with these guys. And I hope that we'll be coming again in a few months. And our performance will be much better than today's race. So anyways, it's a good race.
Yeah, it was a good race indeed while we were watching, and congratulations once again to both of you. I think the two of you are the only people who are in the party right now, but thank you for putting up a good show. And for everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. This is probably the last stream which we have as far as F1 2020 is concerned. We have a lot of racing to come in terms of season 5 in the Indian Racing League, so stay tuned for that. Until then, it's goodbye from me. Take care of yourselves and have fun. Have a good weekend.